the latest ITV news in the Tyne region with Amy Lee and Ian Payne. Hello there, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
On tonight's programme, Never Again, how council workers will be trained to spot the signs of illegal cannabis shatter labs like the one that killed little Archie.
Cruel and unnecessary. A former gamekeeper's fined after secret footage found him beating a bird to death.
Also, maybe the FA Cup has still got a little bit of magic left. Newcastle and Sunderland go the distance and go into the hat.
And Grand Designs, the Grade 2 listed Watchtower in Tyne that's set for a modern makeover. First tonight to what's hoped could be the beginning of a legacy for a little boy killed in one of the most shocking incidents in Newcastle's recent history.
7-year-old Archie Rourke died when the illegal shatter cannabis lab being run under his home exploded. One of the men running the lab also died in the explosion while his partner in crime was jailed last year.
Today, Newcastle City Council has approved a report to be shared with housing and social workers to spot the signs of similar labs that it's hoped means the tragedy of Archie's death won't be repeated. Julia Bartham has more. On the 16th of October 2024, the peace of the night and normality of life in Benwell in Newcastle was shattered. A massive explosion ripped apart homes and the family of 7-year-old Archie Rourke, an innocent little boy asleep with his dad when the blast happened.
His main features and about his personality is wanted to help people, he wanted to help me, he wanted to help his friends. So I'm going on my daily activities so I can live Archie's memory by doing that, by helping other families.
Archie's parents had no idea a drugs lab was being operated in the flat below theirs. The explosion caused by the butane gas used to make cannabis concentrates known as shatter. Now they want to make sure others know the signs to look out for to help them recognise if a shatter lab is operating near them.
Disposing of the gas canisters, the tubing for the ventilation, seeing people go to the address that you don't recognise. Them are the three main factors that I wish I had have known about.
Archie's mum and dad have worked with Newcastle City Council to produce this report, which tells Archie's heartbreaking story through their own words. It also contains lots of information about how to spot the signs of cannabis shatter production, the risks it causes, and what people can do to help shut down these dangerous drugs labs.
I think they're just amazingly generous people. I mean, what happened was truly awful and absolutely unexpected. So for them to have this sort of strength to come together and say, yes, we want to do something and we want to educate other people, I just think that's enormously brave. Already, because none of us were aware of what cannabis shatter was before this awful tragedy, lessons have been learned. And when we're going out visiting people in their homes, our officers are on the lookout for things like this, and we want communities to be on the lookout too.
The report will be shared around the country with housing officers and social workers, spread out to reach as many people as possible.
My narrative is never judge anybody. I mean, if you see somebody go to your neighbour's house, you don't think, oh, they're there because they're doing illegal activities.
The cannabis factory had been operated by 33-year-old Rhys Galbraith, who was jailed for 14 years for manslaughter, possessing and supplying cannabis, and his friend, 35-year-old Jason Laws, who died in the blast. The pair had brought more than 100 bottles of highly flammable butane gas into the residential flat, which was surrounded by 11 other properties. The result of their actions was death and devastation. 140 people were displaced, with 10 households permanently rehomed. The lives of Archie's family and so many others well and truly shattered.
The shatter lab isn't just a lab for criminals, it affects everyone beyond that. And that's why this report is so important, because it refreshes everyone's memory to what actually happened on the day of the 16th of October 2024.
We can join Julia for more. Julia, what will happen next?
Well, this report has been approved today by the Safe Newcastle Partnership. That's a community safety partnership which brings together the council and organisations like the NHS and emergency services. This will now be sent out around those organisations and used to train staff. And already the knowledge learned from this horrendous story, this horrendous explosion, is making a difference. Housing officers from the city, now knowing what to look out for, have since discovered 2 more shatter cannabis plants in the city. They've been shut down and made safe, and this knowledge will now be sent out around the country. Archie, we're told, talked about being a police officer when he grew up. He's had that future, those dreams taken away from him, but through his story, through this report, his aim to make the community safer is being made a reality.
Julia Barthram reporting. Thank you, Julia.
Next tonight, a man's been fined after admitting to beating a buzzard to death inside a trap at a North Yorkshire game shooting estate.
Thomas Munday appeared at Scarborough Magistrates Court, charged with killing the bird, which is a protected species, near Malton in 2024.
A warning that Rachel Bullock's report has footage of the incident that you might find distressing.
With no idea he's being filmed, gamekeeper Thomas Munday, fully masked, is captured beating a buzzard to death. The protected bird was trapped, posing no danger or threat. Unmasked today, 35-year-old Munday, here in the light trousers and open neck shirt, walking with his barrister, admitted the charge.
Are you ashamed of what you've done, Mr. Munday?
Not at this time. It was all said in court. Thank you very much.
Why did you do it, Mr. Munday? Why beat a bird to death?
You were in court. You were able to hear what was said in court.
Magistrates heard that Munday was employed by a management company which had the lease to run pheasant shooting operations on the estate near Malton. When that footage was uncovered in 2024, that lease was terminated, landing Munday out of his job and also the home he rented on the land. In court today, Munday's barrister told magistrates that his client had done an incredibly cruel thing. It was a disgusting aberration, and Munday knew it was wrong, which is why he'd covered his face while killing the bird.
The buzzard was caught in a legal trap used to control crows, which can impact the young pheasant population on shooting estates. The RSPB now regularly hides covert cameras near these traps to ensure protected birds are not destroyed. Today, they called on the government to tighten the law.
Fully protected birds that the public love are being killed on some estates by gamekeepers, and this has to stop. The government have to step in here and they have to licence estates, which means that these things will be consigned to history.
Munday from Gillamore in York was fined £1,215. He's now retrained as a tree surgeon, his barrister telling the court that he can't explain why he killed the bird, but is full of remorse for his actions and accepts his gamekeeping career is over. Rachel Bullock, ITV News at Scarborough Magistrates Court.
Next tonight, the news that won't be welcomed by many drivers who are trying to get into Newcastle every day, as the crumbling Gateshead flyover demolition has been held up.
Yeah, we could join our correspondent Tom Barton now for more on this. Tom, what do we know?
Well, Amy, it's more than a year now since this flyover was closed. Structural problems with the concrete, meaning engineers deemed it unsafe. That decision, though, having huge consequences for traffic all around this part of Gateshead. Now, the council wants to demolish it in the autumn. They told us that work would begin early this year and would be completed by May. Now, though, we're told that that work won't begin until at least March. The reason? This building. Now, this building needs to be demolished before that work can begin. As you can see, though, it is still standing. Now, the building has been entirely emptied out, and asbestos has been removed from it. But we're told the slow and careful removal of that asbestos is what appears to have slowed this project down. Now, nobody's more affected by all of this than taxi drivers, so I've been speaking to a couple of them to ask what the impact on them has been.
Customers get frustrated, we're getting frustrated, it's caused more time delay. So really, the quicker they can get the flyover done, be easier for everybody, really.
And when you hear then that there's been delays in getting the work started?
Yeah, it's frustrating, really, to be honest, because we've been hearing for years it's going to happen, and it's been going on for so long now. When will it happen?
It's restricting where we can go as well, but then it falls onto the public because they pay more money for the fare. So yeah, it's very, very frustrating. It's going to be even worse when this flyover comes down. It's going to be terrible.
Now, despite the delays, the council says it is making good progress in getting everything ready for demolition to start. So they've cleared away all of the signs along the road. They've prepared the carriageway underneath the flyover for work to begin. But I think everybody, including the council, is keen for this failed flyover to be removed as soon and as safely as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep you up to date with any changes or developments there. Tom, for now in Gateshead, thank you very much for the latest.
Well, next, a way of trying to save a bit of money as January rolls on.
Yeah, financial experts say that one common sense way is to just check exactly what money is coming out of your bank accounts.
And that's because research shows millions of us have monthly subscriptions we either don't remember signing up for or we might not need or want anymore. James Webster has more.
Whether it's a gym membership you're not using often enough, some sort of delivery subscription, or a monthly payment for films or TV shows, many of us, according to experts, are paying monthly fees for services that we're not always using. So, how often do we check our bank accounts, and do we really know what we're paying each month? We've been out in Newcastle to find out.
Sometimes you take a look at your bank account and you see, hey, do I still have that subscription?
I keep track of everything the money going out, so nowhere are we paying for something that we don't use.
I think twice before I purchase if I really need it. I try it, cancel it, and then I keep an eye on it. Basically, if I don't use something, I'll cut it out.
It's estimated 20 million people have signed up for a subscription without realising 4.7 million are still paying for one they didn't ask for, and it can be costly. HSBC estimates consumers can save an average of £34 a month by cancelling unnecessary subscriptions. Although many services follow strict rules on how they operate, National Trading Standards says there are consumers who could save money by cancelling unnecessary subscriptions.
The concern for us is consumers who perhaps sign up for something for a trial or a free offer or a reduced price for a period of time, but then inadvertently get caught up in a subscription that they perhaps don't want or need. And even more concerning for us is consumers who actually end up signing up for a subscription service where they're unaware they've done so, and unfortunately perhaps take several months of payments before they realise that it's something they just never ever encountered and wanted to sign up to.
And according to the team behind the Plum Money Management app, there are savings to be made.
Banking apps have improved and made it more accessible for people to see what they're spending on. So you can have a look at it and see whether there's recurring payments going through. A lot of subscriptions are on a monthly basis, so you should be able to stop it for the following month. But if you do want to keep the subscription, then there are actually other things you can do to bring down the amount that you are spending on that subscription in the first place. For example, let's say you've got the premium version of it. Do I actually still need the premium version? Would the standard version work for me? It might mean I have to watch an ad or two during the programme itself, but will that make a big difference, and actually you make a big saving as a result of that?
If the experts are right and we all did cancel the subscriptions we don't need, we would be left with extra cash to spend before the end of the month. James Webster, ITV News.
The ITV News continues at 6:30.
Coming up, the programme, tensions continue to rise as Iran's foreign minister says his country is ready for war. That's if the US intervenes following a deadly Iranian crackdown on anti-government protests. We'll have reaction from Washington also tonight. Is this the biggest defection yet for Reform UK? The former Tory Chancellor Nadeem Zahawi joins Nigel Farage's ranks. And fresh off the back of the biggest ever FA Cup shock, we're with the heroes of Macclesfield as they find out who they'll face in the 4th round. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Powering local sport in the community, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
So the FA Cup 3rd round might not be quite the big deal that it once was, unless you are Macclesfield, of course, in the football calendar. But having said all that, not really a bad weekend of football then, Simon?
It was pretty good, wasn't it? As you said, Macclesfield beating the cup holders Crystal Palace was where the real magic was. But we had 3 teams in round 3, and we got 3 good games. And when all was said and done, we've got 2 teams left in the 4th round draw after a game of 2 halves and a tale of 2 shootouts. All's well that ends well. Aaron Ramsdale, the hero, in the shootout against Bournemouth and the Magpies in the 4th round of the FA Cup. That's where Eddie Howe wanted to end up. He'd just rather they hadn't gone round the houses to get there, because his squad's already tired, injury depleted, and facing a Carabao Cup semi-final first leg against Manchester City tomorrow night.
It wasn't ideal, the 120 minutes. Certainly from our perspective, we knew this game was here, but we wanted to get through. I think that was the priority, and whatever it took, we had to do. And then we had to, the last couple of days, to look back and reflect and to then plan this game with hopefully a fresh team and one that can play how we want to play.
As for the bit before the penalty shootout, this seemed to be a game nobody could nail down. A much-changed Newcastle took the lead, but Bournemouth bounced right back and they took the lead. They held that until stoppage time in normal time, but then the Magpies got a penalty and Anthony Gordon sent the tie to extra time. Then the in-form Harvey Barnes scored his 2nd goal of the game, his 4th goal of the week, and Newcastle had the lead again. But they gave away a horrible goal in stoppage time in extra time, so penalties it was. Lots of hits, plenty of misses, Ramsdale saved 3, and Newcastle finally, eventually, got through. Sunderland also had to go the distance. They picked a stronger team than many expected at Everton, and the Black Cats were the better team throughout. Enzo Lefay's goal felt redemptive after his midweek penalty problems, and Sunderland would have won this more comfortably but for their former goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. But Everton were handed a late lifeline with a very, very soft-looking penalty decision. James Garner beat Robin Roofs from the spot, but no one else did, because after extra time, Sunderland and their goalkeeper were remarkably efficient in the shootout. Roofs saved Everton's first 3 penalties, the Black Cats scored their first 3, and the job was done. Club stalwart Luke O'Nine got to seal the deal.
That's what we came here for. We want to go far in the FA Cup. We want to go all the way. So it's a good mark for us, and especially how the boys reacted after a questionable penalty decision. I think I'll go as far as saying that. And the boys were really, really good, and I'm really proud of them.
Thousands of Middlesbrough fans made the trip to Fulham and they didn't see the result they wanted, but they did see an OK performance from their team. Hayden Hackney had Borough ahead at the break against League, and the upset was on. But as it turned out, all Middlesbrough had actually done was panic Fulham into playing well. They looked like a Premier League team in the second half. They got themselves level, they got themselves in front, and then they shut the door. 3-1 at the end.
Disappointed. Thought we were really good all probably 70 minutes. Matched them. Felt like we were in control of quite a lot of the game. And then, struggled towards the end, but overall I think you take some positives from that.
Not the end of the world for Borough, for whom the FA Cup was only ever a sideshow to the Championship promotion race. Not the end of the FA Cup for Sunderland and Newcastle. Let's see what tonight's 4th round draw brings.
And that 4th round draw takes place in the next half an hour, Simon. Meanwhile, the Carabao Cup semi-final starts for Newcastle tomorrow night. The fixtures for them are relentless at the moment. I suppose they wouldn't have it any other way.
You're not going to find them complaining, not Eddie Howe, not his squad. It's super busy, but it's super exciting. Yes, adding Tino Livramento to the injury list at the weekend was the very last thing they needed. Yes, they are busy. Yes, they've got an injury list. But think back to the Mike Ashley era. Newcastle's season was often effectively over by this time in January. This way is better. Harrogate Town stopped the rot and they're off the bottom of League Two. Simon Weaver's team were heading for a 5th league defeat on the spin away at Crewe, but Tom Curson's excellent injury time goal earned a 1-1 draw and moved them off the foot of the table. York City climbed to the top of the National League. The prolific Ollie Pearce got the winner in their 2-1 victory at Sutton United. But Hartlepool had a shocker. Away at Woking, they lost 4-0 and had Cameron John sent off. It should have been a big weekend for women's football in the region, but the weather spoilt it. Durham versus Sunderland in the River Wear derby and Newcastle United's WSL2 promotion showdown with Birmingham City were both postponed. In rugby union, Newcastle Red Bulls made it 3 wins out of 3 in the European Challenge Cup. They had to dig deep to see off French side Perpignan at Kingston Park. In men's basketball, a bad weekend and a bad dress rehearsal for the Newcastle Eagles. They lost a league game at home to London Lions, who they play in the trophy final next month. Newcastle then lost against Cheshire yesterday. The Eagles are also out of the women's trophy. This team lost away to the Oakland Wolves. And finally, the bad weather meant tough conditions at the National Cyclo Cross Championships in South Shields at the weekend, but cyclo riders are a tough bunch, so they didn't mind. Anna Flynn won the elite women's race. Cameron Mason won the elite men's race.
Now, we are going to take a look at a unique restoration project that is about to get underway on North Tyneside.
A 7-storey former watchtower from the World War is being transformed into a family home in Tynemouth. It's been a property that others have made home since the 1950s, but today it is in need of some modern TLC.
Yes, current owners opened the doors to us at the beginning of the year for our cameras to take a look around before that work starts. Johnny Blair reports.
A unique building in a stunning location of historic importance.
Welcome to the Watchtower. Things are about to change, but come and have a look before they do.
Owners Rolly and Jamie bought it last year. 7 floors of identically sized rooms about to get a new lease of life.
Rolly and I have always loved property. We've always looked for really fun and interesting things, and I suppose we kind of like to think that we live our life that way as well, just a little bit different with a sense of adventure. We lived in a really normal, desirable family home, and it just wasn't filling our boots, I suppose. So we were on the lookout for a kind of a property with character, with a bit of quirk.
I would say we've got one of the best views of any home anywhere in the UK / even the world potentially. Yeah. There are not many places that you can sit in your living room like we are now, and in the summertime we can spot pods of dolphins swimming up and down the coast.
The Watchtower is 110 years old and Grade 2 listed. Originally built as a lookout post in World War I, it was part of North East coastal defences. There are 100 steps to get from the ground floor up here to the living room, and that is not including the steps up the ladder, which takes us to the observatory, where there are still markings from the Second World War which can be found on the wall. The view from the roof goes on for miles and is high up. Rolly and Jamie both have a design background and are heavily involved in the refurb.
The big idea behind the tower is we are going to be moving the kitchen from the ground floor where we are now up to floor 5. The bedrooms, we're really going to be using the fantastic ceiling height that we get in the rooms. So we'll be stacking the functions by putting the beds up on a platform, which means we can get all the storage that we need underneath, and then squeezing a little ensuite into the corner of each room as well.
The journey is being shared on social media. Some videos have gone viral. Work begins in the spring or summer and is set to last 6 months, when this landmark building begins the next chapter in its history. Johnny Blair, ITV News.
What a place to live.
What a view from the top there. Lots of work though. Good luck with the project.
Stairs. Yeah,
Lots of stairs.
seven floors.
Yeah.
There were going to be 8, but that's another story.
Right, let's just... Is that really how you want to start the week here? Nicely covered in snow.
Yeah, super snowy.
Memories of all but a few days ago. Because, we started last week like this.
Snow, really.
Unusual setup with that snow out towards the coast, and of course those freezing temperatures, and inland actually not a flake of snow to be seen for many. But then a few days later, well, back to normal actually, the snow was back over high ground and out towards the coast. It looked a little bit more like this. And for the first time today, our temperatures, I can say, got above 10 degrees.
Wow.
This year has been very chilly. In fact, I've been looking at the statistics for the first few days of the year, and we are well below the average, around 3 degrees lower than we'd expect to be, even for January. So we do need this jump in temperatures just to even it out. I was looking at Bulmer on the Northumberland coast, because that was our mildest area today, 11.1 degrees. This time last week, the top temperature was 0.9 degrees.
Big difference.
So it just shows that big difference. Will it continue, though? Let's take a look at the forecast.
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs. TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
Not as chilly for us today, with some decent spells of sunshine in the mix. Although the cloud has been increasing at times, a few showers dotted around. Those will continue as we make our way overnight. Even some patchy rain joining in as we head into tomorrow morning. That's through the first half of the day. It will become brighter towards the second half of Tuesday, meaning a chilly start into Wednesday, but then again more unsettled weather is on the way. Very up and down as we head through this week. Low pressure's nearby at the moment, keeping things changeable, the showers, the longer spells of rain, but also dragging up that less chilly air. Overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, briefly, there's a ridge of high pressure. That's going to calm things down, clearer skies, lighter breezes. Does mean a frosty start into Wednesday morning, but some decent weather to come. It's later on the cloud is going to thicken, some patchy rain pushing its way in from the west. For now, the rain is hit and miss. It's mostly just a scattering of showers. It's breezy. They're moving through quickly. We do see some clearer skies take us into the early hours, but even underneath prolonged clearer skies, with the cloud coming and going, the breeze is coming up from the south. Temperatures hold up at around 4 or 5 degrees, so no real risk of a frost as we head into Tuesday morning. Tuesday itself, messy start of the day. Yes, we do have some brighter breaks around, but you can see there's further spells of rain, sometimes heavy, indicated by the brighter colours in the mix there, holding on to a lot of cloud as well. But despite that combination, temperatures holding up around 8 or 9 degrees as the high. So it's later Tuesday, we're starting to see those clearer skies developing from the west. Clear skies overnight with the lighter breezes, the blues on the map here showing that frost into Wednesday morning. Decent day though, plenty of sunshine around. It's really only later on the cloud is going to thicken as patchy rain spreads its way through. So up and down through the next few days, but holding on to those sunny spells, temperatures peaking at around 7 degrees.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
Thank you, Ross. In just a moment, the national and the international news.
I'll be here with the update at around about 10:30. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for your company.
Bye-bye.